70 a.m. Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. Took me a second to remember what day is today. Thank God it's Friday too, right?
Yeah.
Our next guest is a guest who is paying us a return visit. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but boy, it sort of sounds familiar. Either that or I read the book and had a dream that we interviewed him. Mark.
No, we did.
We did. Good. I'm glad you remember. Mark Henshaw is on the phone, and I know some of you are fans. In addition to being a very talented, obviously, author, and a very successful author, he's also a CIA agent. I believe he is currently with the CIA,
Yep.
so it's not like a former, which is nothing wrong with the word former. Just in his case, he is with the CIA. It's been 14 years, it says here, of service for the CIA. He's the recipient of the Director of National Intelligence Galileo Award for Innovation in Intelligence Analysis. He's a former member of the CIA's Red Cell think tank, and you might remember the first book was called Red Cell. Mm-hmm. And his new book is called Cold Shot. There was a story on CNN. What is today? The 23rd? So
Yes.
It must have been earlier this week. And it was basically an opinion piece, but it was talking about the Venezuelan nightmare and all of the troubles that's going on down there. I mean, we're looking at the world. We're looking at North Korea. We're looking at the Israeli-Palestinian friction. We're looking at, you name it. And then there's Venezuela. So we've got places in this world that are just, here as America, we tried to say, well, we're the policemen. What I don't understand, though, is how Mark is able to do what he does. And it's almost like he needs to do his job. He needs to be able to look into the future.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like that's maybe how he was able to write this book and include the whole Venezuelan stuff. And you know what it is? We just pay attention to the news when it's news. The CIA pays attention to it before it's the news. Maybe that's the answer. Mark, you're going to have to answer this one for me. Mark Henshaw, it's an honor to have you on our show. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Where are you right now?
I am in Northern Virginia.
Oh, you're not allowed to say? Was that what I picked up on?
Yeah, that's about all I can tell you.
Gosh.
I'm in Northern Virginia.
I'm going to be that way. Where are you right now? I can't tell you.
Yeah, well, he's protecting
It's
our
a
country.
Yeah.
Mark's protecting our country.
So do you have to be that careful when you're writing fiction? I mean, you have to, as you're writing these stories, I mean, it's a fictional novel, but you have a lot of real stuff in there. And in fact, I don't know how long it took to write it, but I mean, how did you know about Venezuela ahead of time?
Well, it's interesting. I having given how many years I've worked, I have a pretty good idea of what they would let me write and what they wouldn't. So I don't actually have to censor myself too much when I write. But the agency does have an organization set up called the Publications Review Board that reviews the intended writings of any current or even former employees. The agreement to let them review this stuff actually is lifelong. Even after you retire, you still have to submit anything.
Oh, really?
To the agency, yeah, or anything you looked at while you were there to them to get cleared, so they can make sure that you're not revealing any kind of information that could damage sources or methods. I mean, there are things that happened 30, 40 years ago which still to this day remain classified.
Really?
Yeah, so, I write things, I make them as real as I can without going over that line, and then I submit it to them, and then if there's anything that they think still needs to be pulled or changed, we go back and forth on it. But it hasn't been, nearly as painful a process as I had thought it would be at the start. They've been very good to work with.
Well, you're a good writer, so I'm guessing every CIA agent is not a good writer.
You would be correct.
Okay, so am I also correct in assuming that there are some of your colleagues who look at your success as an author and say, "Oh, come on, I could do that," and he goes home to the missus and he says, "You know what? Mark has written a book. He's getting all these accolades. Where's that computer? I think I can do this. And so he submits his manuscript to those guys that have to approve it, and they just laugh.
No, I mean, it is surprising that ever since I got my first book published, I have been approached by a few people inside who are like, how did you do this? And if I want to do this, what do I do? And, sort of stepping them through the process. And, my advice for them is go find some other genre to write in. Go write, teenage vampire romance novels or something. That doesn't have to be cleared, because you only have to clear stuff that's related to what you do there.
But the interesting thing for us as readers is that we are privy. I don't know if privy is the right word, but you talk about things, you write about things that are real, and then you write about things that are fictional. And as a reader, you say, "Wow, is this real?" Because we're not sure. I mean, because you kind of set us up. You put us in a place that is real with terminology that is real, right?
Yeah.
And then you build something else out of it.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who, I've heard this from police officers and lawyers and things. They're like, police officers say, I can never watch a cop show because all I see is everything that they do wrong. Or lawyers, I can't watch a lawyer show because I just see how unrealistic it is. And I'm the same way with spy shows and spy books.
Really?
I have a really hard time reading through them because I just sit there and I just get hung up on all the stuff that they get wrong. So writing these books, I'm writing for myself. I'm writing the kind of book I would like to read, and I try and make it absolutely as real as I can. I mean, the narrative is fictional, but I try and pack it full of real historical events, real places. In fact, if you go through Cold Shot and you find there's a section where the heroes of our story are having to go, check out this one facility, the latitude and longitude coordinates of the facility are printed at the top of the chapter there.
That's the CAVM. CAVM?
Yeah.
Am I remember?
CAVM. Yeah, that's an acronym.
And that's one thing I really enjoy about your book is that you have a seasoned professional in Jonathan, but then you have somebody new on board like Akira, who Kikira, who he's training, and that way the reader gets two different perspectives, from someone that's been around the block a lot to someone who you can see it through fresh eyes.
Yeah, she's kind of the stand-in for the reader in the book. She's kind of Watson to his Holmes. And you read the first book, and she actually was a field officer who got injured and came back, and that's how she ends up partnered with him doing that. But I thought it'd be interesting to have the action-oriented half of the duo be the woman, the one who wants to get out behind the desk, who wants to get out in the field, talk to people, do things. And I tried to make her story as real as I can, because I know there are women who do those kinds of things too. So it all ties into the realistic aspect that I try and build into the book.
We have done everything except be fair to our listeners about what the book is about. I don't even think, did I even say the title? I apologize. I jumped right in. I think Cold Shot is the name of the novel. Mark Henshaw is the author. You know him from Red Cell. You have some fans out there that knew you were coming on today, and so they were looking forward to this, and I am recording it so they can listen to it later if they missed it. But is this your second book?
This is my second, yeah. Red Cell was the first one I ever published.
Wow. And do you remember being on with us? No, probably not. You probably took notes. They asked dumb questions you probably wrote down. They asked dumb questions. Radio guy. Can I just go back for a little bit before we talk about the story in Cold Shot to the moment in your personal life when you got the word that a publisher wanted the book, wanted Red Cell? What was that like?
Absolutely. Kind of scary, actually, when you think about it. I had been working on Red Cell on and off for quite a while, and finally got it in good shape to send out. I got it cleared, and then I had to go through the whole process of trying to get a literary agent, which was not particularly easy. You kind of shotgun these things out and try and find an agent who's interested in it. And I did find an agent, and he said, okay, I'm going to start sending this around to publishers. And he sends me the list of publishers that he's going to send it to, and it's like Simon & Schuster and Viking, and
that's a good publicist. I mean, that's a good agent, yeah.
Yeah, he's starting at the top, and I'm like, man, you're starting at the top. He says, yeah, you always start at the top and work your way down, because if you start at the bottom and work your way up, somebody may pick it up, but you'll never know how big you could have gone. So he starts sending it out to them, and so someone looked at it, and we like it. It's really well written. We're not sure how it fits with our catalog right now. Blah blah blah. And then Simon Schuster got it and came back, and they were really excited about it and said, we want to do it. And pitched me the terms, and I was excited. I mean, that's the moment every wannabe author dreams of.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'm getting paid for this all of a sudden. But then it was kind of scary, because I realized, here I'm going to be publishing a book which is going to have my name and face slapped on the inside back cover. And at that point, I was like, well, I guess I'm ruined for cover work.
Yeah, right.
I'll never be able to do that.
So is that really you in the photograph, or is that Raymond?
That is me. That's me.
You sort of resemble who Everybody Loves Raymond. What's that guy's name? Raymond?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray Romano. I've heard that before. Nobody ever tells me I look like a young Harrison Ford. They tell me I look like a middle-aged Ray Romano.
It's funny.
I like how you describe what a cold shot is.
Yeah, for people who don't know that, I'm not referring to the Stevie Ray Vaughan song. It's an actual sniper term that they have. Whenever you shoot a gun, the friction of the bullet causes the barrel to heat up, and the barrel starts to expand, and the barrel starts to get fouled with oil and dirt and gunpowder and other things. And so every shot that you take makes the gun a little less accurate over long range. And if you're a sniper shooting at 800 yards or something, it can make the difference between a hit and a miss on the target. So for a sniper, your most accurate shot is the first one, which is what they call the cold shot or the cold bore shot. And, of course, as a sniper, that one shot might be all you get, because once the target knows he's being shot at, he's going to take cover, and you might never get another shot at him. So the idea of that cold shot is it's the first and possibly only shot that you're going to get at a target before it becomes impossible to hit.
I could never do that.
So
I say I could never do that, but if there was a guy, if there was a target, a human target, and I knew that he had raped my daughter, or God forbid hurt one of my children, then I'd have no problem.
Yeah.
But I guess making it anonymous. Mm-hmm. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know.
Well, it's the professional snipers who do this. I mean, they're extremely well trained. They have extremely good gear. You look at the scopes and weapons. I mean, my father was in the U.S. Marine Corps. He joined up at the end of World War II, and he taught me and my brothers how to shoot. And I went out shooting with him one day when he was in his, I guess he was in his late 70s. And he had his old M1 Garand from his days of service, which is a venerable old weapon in the Marine Corps. And he was a better shot in his late 70s with open sights, no scope, on that M1 Garand than I was in my late 20s with assisted. I mean, he would tell me stories of Marines who were in the Pacific who would be hitting targets with open sights at 400 and 500 yards routinely.
Boy, I'd be lost. If I was at your family gathering at Thanksgiving, I wouldn't know what to say. I would be listening to everybody talk, and I would think, well, I have nothing to contribute here.
Yeah, but I mean, there are just some guys who just take to it, and they just have the skill for it and the eyesight for it. And my dad, he was very proud that he had his Marine Corps sharpshooter medal. He earned sharpshooter status in the Marine Corps. And, you go watch TV shows, and they show Marines, and every single Marine on there has the sharpshooter medal. It's tough to get, and
oh, really?
It is tough. I mean, every Marine has to go qualify on the weapon. I mean, all the way up to the Commandant of the Marine Corps has to qualify every year on the weapon. But to earn the sharpshooter medal really puts you in the top tier.
When we speak to an author who tackles the same type of subject as you have, they have to do a lot of research. In your case, though, I'm wondering if you still need to do research because you're right in the middle of it all.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do research. I do a tremendous amount of research for those books.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, when I have Kira running through a street somewhere and I list off the street name, I usually have a map of that place open in front of me, and I'm following her course, where she's going, and I'm like, well, can I find somewhere, pictures of this town to describe it? Can I actually see what's on this street? Can I find shops and museums and things like that? And like I said earlier, I try and make it as real as possible, to the point where you can punch in the latitude and longitude coordinates of places that I list in the book, and it will bring up on Google Maps the actual facility that exists, so that you can see it. So if the reader wants to go and actually follow, where somebody's going through a city where I've listed the streets, they can pull out a map and do that. I try and get it that real if I can.
I do want to allow the listeners to chat with you, if you don't mind, Mark. So I promised the listeners, because we haven't really been fair to the book yet. We're just so infatuated with what you do for a living. Mark Henshaw is our guest. He is a CIA an analyst. I guess the word agent is appropriate. His second book, his new book, his first one was a hit. It was called Red Cell. He was on for that one. And this new one is called Cold Shot. Now I know what that means. and let's take a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for being patient, by the way. You're on the air with Mark Henshaw.
Hey, thanks, Larry and Robin. Mark, my name is Mark as well, Mark Hankins, and I'm a former Marine, Mark. And my father, like your dad, was a Marine. My dad was a Marine infantryman. And, Mark, I served on embassy duty as a young Marine, and found myself playing a lot of tennis with CIA employees. And I respect your devotion to the country. I just wanted to get that off my chest to you as a fellow American. My second tour, Mark, in the Marine Corps, I spent the last 18 months in Marine Corps counterintelligence, and I probably work, Mark, with some people that you may be personally familiar with by name, but I'll leave that to the side. But what I would just ask you, Mark, from an analyst standpoint, do you happen to know what Viktor Marchenko really wanted to be when he joined the Navy?
No, I can't say that I can.
Well, Viktor Marchenko actually wanted to be a Marine, so I thought you might appreciate that. That might fill up all of your books and all the other things. And actually, Red Cell. I operated against Red Cell over in Hawaii with the Marines at Marine Corps Air Station Kaneohe. Red Cell did attack the Marines there in an operation, and I was lucky to be a part of the Naval Investigative Service, as a part of it, the Honolulu Police Department, and the Marine Corps Counterintelligence, and some other folks. But it's a very interesting and important part of our current and contemporary history. And I thank you, Mark, for writing the books, and I'll check it out. I just wanted to let you know Marchenko was interested in being a Marine, so it kind of all goes in full circle.
There you go.
And so he couldn't make it in the Marines, so he had to settle for the Navy. Is that what you're saying?
No.
I think that's what you're saying. Yeah, I think that's what you're saying.
I have much respect for the Navy SEALs. They operate differently than the Marine Corps. What they do is what they're meant to do, and they know that going in. And Marchenko is a hell of a warrior. I have much respect for him. He's a real person. And I have friends of his caliber that I know and known in my life personally. But and you must be a heck of a good American, Mark, for the devotion you've given to our country as an actual contributor to our country's safety. And I thank you as a fellow American for that, Mark.
There you go.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I can actually say, that the SEALs, if you've ever seen the kind of training that the SEALs go through, just to get into the program, it is just the most torturous stuff. They go in, for like a week, and they divide them up in squads, and they make them carry telephone poles or logs around on their shoulders. They make them, they sleep deprive them. They don't get any sleep at night. They don't get to eat very often. They end up sitting in the Pacific surf doing, unbelievable amounts of sit-ups and push-ups while the water is coming over them. And there's a guy sitting on the beach, and there's a bell up on the beach, and he sits there and he's yelling at him, coffee and hot donuts for the first guy to ring the bell. And of course, you go ring the bell and you're out of the program. And they just do everything they can to just break you mentally. in that first week. So I mean, most of the guys who go into that try out for that program wash out.
I would fail that test.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. I mean, I think every man around likes to think, oh, I could, I'm tough enough, whatever. And it's not physical; it's all mental. They want somebody who's just not going to break under stress, and they just throw it at you, and they don't go easy on you. And I forget what the washout rate is, but it's like 90% or something. I mean, it's
really?
some ridiculous. Yeah, it's really high. I mean, almost nobody makes it in because it's just that hard. And the guys who do make it in, I've met some, and some of them are just the nicest guys you've ever seen. They aren't, I mean, they're not like Schwarzenegger huge and whatever like that. I mean, some of them look like relatively normal people, but they just mentally are some of the toughest people you will ever meet in your life.
Just so you know, Robin's hand is bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger's hand.
Yes, it is.
She put it up against at the Chinese theater. She said, "Look at this! My hand is bigger than Schwarzenegger." Yeah. So he might not be that big after all.
That's right.
I'm just teasing. So, Swami, let's be fair to the book. The book is called Cold Shot. It is a novel, but it is today. I mean, if you want to know what's going to happen in Venezuela,
yeah.
you might find the ending in here, or Iran, or
or nuclear weapons.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's a crazy parallel. I mean, and to think you didn't write this today. You wrote this. How long did this take? A couple of years, I'm guessing, right?
I started writing it about, what is this? We're in May now.
Yeah.
I started writing it about 18, 20 months ago.
Wow.
So yeah, almost 2 years.
So a lot of this was educated forecasting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what analysts do. I tell people when they ask, do analysts predict the future? I say, predicting the future, you leave that to the bookies and the fortune tellers. Nobody predicts the future. But what you're doing is, the analysts are just taking in all of this information, trying to learn as much as they can about the actors and the situation and the forces and whatnot. And you're just trying to piece together a picture of where you think things could go. You're trying to give the president and other people the best information possible so they can make the best decisions on how to protect the country. And so you do sort of, and there are some tools, there are some techniques which aren't even classified, that you can go through to sort of develop scenarios and say, this is sort of where I think things could go. This is what the world might look like in, a few years. And get people thinking about what are the forces that could change that one way or the other. And those happen to be, fortunately, skills which translate pretty well to writing some fiction. So
Jonathan Burke might be the next, I don't know, James Bond or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
no, he won't. He's you read the book. He doesn't like the field very much. He doesn't want to be on the field. No.
Well, Kira could be the next. She could be the next. So she's not a Bond girl. She's another Bond. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
She's not a Bond girl. She's the one running around punching people in the nose and all that.
I have a copy of the book. It's a wonderfully written. I got a hardcover copy of it. It's called Cold Shot. Mark Henshaw is the author. Call me if you want the copy. I have. Everybody else will have to go buy it though. Mark, we have about a minute and a half. Can you tell me a website or so, or something? How do we get the book?
You can pick it up on Amazon.com. They've got it in Kindle or hardback, either one. There will be an audiobook version of it out, I believe, on June 1st.
Oh, really?
For those who prefer to listen to it commuting to and from work. You can pick it up at any Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, any of the major booksellers. I always say go support your little local, smaller bookstores. They need all the business they can get these days. So go in there, and if they don't have it, I'm sure they'll be happy to order it for you.
Yeah. And Simon & Schuster is the publisher, so it's everywhere. Good morning. You've got the book. Who is this?
This is Betty.
Betty, come on, pick it up. It'll be waiting for you.
I can't wait to read this book.
You got it. All right, Betty. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
There you go. See how quickly they go? It's just amazing. Are you driving a better car now? See, CIA guys always have a good car, though, don't they?
He's not going to tell.
My last car before I wrecked it was a Ford Focus. So it was
there you go.
No high-end car.
I don't want to ask how you wrecked it. I'd rather imagine something amazing rather than a dog ran out in front of me.
No, it involved a patch of black ice in a tree.
Oh no!
So it's the same kind of.
Yeah, I can tell you, if you see a CIA guy driving around in a BMW, the first question security starts asking is, where did he get the money for that?
Mark, thank you so much. We've got to run. Great interview. Thank you so much.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. People living about 3 miles from wildfire in an Arizona canyon trying to decide what to take with them as they're given pre-evacuation warnings.
You just need one ember to fly over, and that's it.
She's in Kachina Village. Fire officials say they have made progress in fighting the fire in and around Oak Creek Canyon, which burned more than 11.5 square miles through Thursday. The unofficial start of summer getting underway this Memorial Day weekend.
Beth Mosier with AAA here in Chicago says, just think back to a few months ago.
Folks were making these plans for the holiday weekend while we were having that cold weather. People really want to get away.
Mosier says they expect travel to be up no matter what your mode of transportation, car, plane, or bus. Gas prices in some of the bigger cities are hovering around $4 a gallon, up slightly in recent days, but lower than last year.
Fox Radio's Jennifer Kuiper, and new home sales up 6.4% in April. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Now through Memorial Day, Performance Bicycle, the nation's largest online cycling retailer, is offering the craziest, most extreme deals in their 32-year history. Markdown Madness at performancebike.com. All bikes are on sale up to 50% off, plus incredible savings on helmets, jerseys, shorts, shoes, parts, accessories. Thousands and thousands of items priced to sell out. Insane doorbusters, 50, 60, up to 70% off. Markdown Madness at performancebike.com runs through Memorial Day.
If you wear hiking boots to work and it's not Casual Friday, you love the outdoors. If you have a family recipe for s'mores, you love the outdoors. If you think campfire smoke should be sold as a perfume, you love the outdoors. And if you love the outdoors like we do, don't miss the REI Anniversary Sale, our biggest sale of the year. Save up to 30% on the